Hey Falcons, Mr. Harold here. Today we're going to try something new. We're going to try an audio book as well as giving you some visuals to help you understand the book better. Mrs. Light, a third grade teacher, is reading the book Grandma's Records. Hopefully this works and we can continue doing this throughout the school year. Let's get started.
Okay, while I'm reading, I want you to think about a time when you have spent time with someone that you loved, someone that loved you, okay, someone who's special, okay. Our story is Grandma's Records. The author, Eric Velasquez, wrote this about memories he had of spending time with his grandmother. Every year, right after the last day of school, I'd pack a suitcase with my cool summer clothes, my favorite toys, and a sketchbook. Then my dog Daisy and I were off to Grandma's apartment in El Barrio because my parents worked. Grandma's apartment was my summer home. From the time my parents dropped me off until the day they picked me up, Grandma wrapped me in her world of music. Sometimes when she played a record, we would dance together. Other times she would dance alone and tell me her stories about growing up in Puerto Rico. When Grandma played a merengue, which is a type of dance, from the Dominican Republic, her hips would sway from side to side. As her favorite salsa record played, and salsa, we know we eat, but is also a type of dance, it's a dance move, she'd say, "Just listen to that conga," while she played an imaginary drum. Grandma liked all types of music, but one record was very special to her. Whenever she played it, she would put her hand over her heart. She would put her hand over her heart and she would close her eyes. It's like she's remembering something. When it was over, Grandma would sometimes sit quietly thinking about Grandpa and the old days in her hometown. Sometimes, Grandma said, a song can say everything that is in your heart, as if it were written just for you. My favorite days were the ones when Grandma would tell me, "You picked the records today." No matter what I chose, Grandma would always say, "I always love your selection." A selection is a choice, kind of like, I like what you chose. Sometimes I would sneak in Grandma's special song, Jace, that's the one you remembered, just to watch her put her hand over her heart and sing. Then she'd always ask, "How did you know?" It was too hot to go outside. I'd spend hours looking through all Grandma's album covers. I'd pick out my favorites and make sketches of the art. As I drew, I could see the record covers coming to life and the bands performing right there in Grandma's living room. Grandma never went to any nightclubs to see her favorite bands perform. She was happy just to stay home with me and listen to her scratchy records. Grandma knew hundreds of musicians from her hometown, and she knew a lot of the people who played on the records. Grandma's nephew, Sammy, played percussion in Rafael's Cortillo's band, the best band in Puerto Rico. One day, when the band was in town, Sammy brought over Cortillo and the band's lead singer, Jake's great attention, Ishmael Riviera, for a surprise visit. So he was the singer, Ishmael was. Home-cooked meals were hard to come by on the road, and they couldn't pass up a chance to taste Grandma's favorite rice and pigeon peas. While eating dessert, Sammy had another surprise for Grandma. 2 tickets to the band's first New York concert and their brand new record, which wasn't even in the stores yet. I raced over to the record player, thrilled to be the first New Yorker to hear their latest music. The next day, Grandma and I spent all day shopping for clothes to wear to the show. She even made me get a what?
A haircut.
A haircut. The theater was all the way up in the Bronx, which is a part of New York. We took the subway there, and Grandma was nervous during the whole ride. When we got to the theater, she walked past the long line of people and went right inside. because of our special tickets. The theater was bigger than all the movie theaters that I had ever gone to. The band made a spectacular entrance. Suddenly, the theater went dark, tiny lights glittered, and a loud siren filled the air. I heard Grandma gasp, "Oh my goodness." She thought something was wrong. The darkened stage seemed to fill with people running back and forth in confusion. Can you guys visualize all this? Next, everything went dark again, and a loud and steady conga beat. Then the lights came on with a loud boom, and the band began to play. Grandma and I were surprised at how different the music sounded live. The musicians made familiar songs sound fresh by adding new musical phrases and words. Before the last song began, Ishmael said, "This one goes out to Carmen," and that's his grandmother. And he pointed to Grandma as he sang her special song. I bet I know what she's going to do. I looked at her as can you guys do it with me? She put her hand over her heart and started to sing. She's feeling emotional. She's moved. I looked at her as she put her hand over her heart, raised the other hand, closed her eyes, and began to sing along. Ishmael was singing to my grandma. So he's the singer. I bet she feels special. And then I looked around and realized that everyone in the theater had their hands over their hearts too. After the show, we went backstage. I asked Ishmael, that was the singer, how he knew about Grandma's song. Rev, thanks for the eyes. He explained that the song was about coming to a new country and having to leave those that you love behind. People put their hands over their hearts to show that their hearts remained in Puerto Rico, even though they were far away. So this was a shared memory that Grandma had with the other people in the room. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. I understood why Grandma's song was special to so many people. Over the next days and weeks, Grandma and I put on our own shows, imitating Cortillo's band. And we know that a synonym for imitate is to copy, to mimic, to replicate. Grandma wished such a special night had been captured in a recording so that she could listen to it again and again. But even then I knew that a concert is so special that it leaves you with the memory of a magical moment in time. Guys, great eyes, great attention. Now, as I got older, do you guys see what happened? Some time has passed. As I got older, I started bringing over my records to play for Grandma. Brazilian music, jazz, and even rap. She loved listening to it all. Even now, when I'm playing CDs in my studio, I imagine I'm back in Grandma's living room, and she turns to me to say, "You be the DJ today." Kind of like, you pick the music, you make the selections. And as I work, Grandma's special song surrounds me.